$35,000. Where are you staying at, if you don't mind me asking?
We're staying at the Disney Animal Kingdom Lodge.
Oh, okay. How many days is that?
We got here on Friday.
Friday.
So, we're here till next weekend. So,
Okay.
about a week and a half.
She paid $35,000 for a week. That's insane, guys. She didn't want to be on camera, so I ain't gonna put her on there.
What's going on, y'all? Like, I'm not surprised at so much at what people are spending, just because of the disposition a lot of people are in living in this country. Got my shades on, it's sunny. What I'm surprised about is people spending that much money. And I don't know this for a fact, but the same people who are spending lucrative amounts on frivolous or depreciating activities, items, and events could be, if not are, the same ones complaining about the disposition of America. You know, how they may hate their job, they feel overworked, underpaid, they can't afford a home, and obviously that they can't retire. Maybe between that, they can't afford consistent medical aid. Yet they could be spending $5, $10, $15, $20, $30, $40, $50,000 to Disney World trips. You know, so like to give an amount, I'll do like 1% benefit of the doubt out of 100, 1% benefit of the doubt that these same people or certain people who are spending, right, who are kind of skewing the threshold. Hopefully they're in the, they're in the 5% minimum, if not minimum, bracket to be essentially throwing away money. This woman being recorded by this dude, her face was blurred out. She didn't want to be on camera. Yet she still talked to the guy. Not sure if he knew that the camera was rolling anyway. We can't link to find the lady. Like, it's now, she didn't throw her handle and an address. You know, yeah, she still wanted to talk to the guy. The fact that she not wanting to be at the camera, like, can validate that she definitely is spending $35,000 on a trip for her kids. That sometimes those kids don't remember. Granted, they could be older, and granted, it could be for the fun of the adult. $35K. Not for the month, which is crazy. Not for a couple months, for a week and a half. Anyway, you know, the fact that she confidently gave up a number, right, doesn't mean that she's necessarily lying or flexing, right? I looked up how many people go to Disney World. I looked up the average revenue last couple years and all this stuff, right? Disney World, just between April, May, and June, made $9.1 billion. On average, Disney World is floating between $40 and $50 billion in revenue, with about 49 million attendances per year, give or take, right? Because, you know, you're coming, it was pre-COVID where numbers were really high. Post-COVID now, numbers are looking to grow, right? But ending in June, quarter one of their fiscal year, 9.1 billion in revenue was made to Disney World. Don't know the situation, but she was single, right? So, right, and a lot of things could happen. There's a lot of things. She could have gone through a divorce, got in an accident, got settlement, right? Or makes very good money. But for that guy to only, because he only talked to her, right? Like, to just pop up, we don't know the full story, but just to pop up on somebody and say, hey, how much did you spend for this trip? Right? It's not the best scale, but it's very telling. 35 grand, bro. I hope she doesn't have a car payment. I hope she was able to put the same amount down on a house. I hope she's in a house. I hope she can put that amount over time, over a couple months, couple years, towards savings for retirement. You know, it's just wild hearing stuff. There's probably videos that I haven't surfaced. There's probably videos out there showing that certain people are spending just around the same, plus or minus, for Disney. And I'm interested to look at it, just haven't had time to do it. But man, hearing someone admit, like, it's always seeing something on paper. It's one thing seeing funds on paper and what Disney makes revenue wise. Not that revenue reporting is false. Most of it is severely accurate, because this is a consumption based economy. But man, hearing someone admit 35 grand for a trip, for a 10-day trip, that physically, you know, the memory is pictures and a non-lasting thrill. 35 grand is wild, man. In the state of this society, 35 grand. How much you could do with 35 grand if you're really being decisive? You could still take that trip. You could actually take a longer trip. You could take a longer trip and benefit better, right? Even if you wanted to sit around and get drunk, you could take a longer trip, sit around, be drunk, and don't even spend half of that. Don't even spend 25% of that. $7,500 to $8,000 on a trip. You could go on a cruise around a couple countries for about 3 weeks, especially if you're single. $35K, that's multiple trips to different places around the. That's you could pay off something. Yeah, you could pay off a debt, right? You could take multiple trips and invest with that money all within the same year. 2 to 3 trips, nice long trips, 2 to 3 trips, unplug from work, invest 5 to 10K into something that can make you money. And you know, put 5-8K towards a debt, a bill, towards, you know, a principal balance on your credit card. You know, maybe she, you know, I don't know, it's not me judging nobody. There's a lot of people who have multiple credit cards, all right? She could clear her credit card fund and restart it. I hope she put the 35K on a credit card. You don't really know, like, you know, it's just wild. It's just the things that happen, the things that go on is wild. You know, was she scared to admit that on camera? That's why she didn't want to be seen. Scared to admit the truth. No matter what your situation, even if you take out a loan to go to Disney, you know, you're a different type of person. But if you're able to acquire a loan to go to Disney, you're doing something pretty decent. I'm being very open-minded and playing devil's advocate. Just because it's so much money. 35K. She's only doing that once. That time. Like, what if, like, imagine repeat offenders, right? Who's spending 10 to 20K, but they're going 3 to 4 times a year. There's people in Florida who go to Disney World 2 to 3 times a year, almost every season, right? Maybe once a quarter, once every other corner. People frequent Disney World. There are Joe Blow, no-name, 9-to-5ers spending savings, spending investment money to go to games, to go to concerts, to go to Disney World. Spending. When I look at most, that means 51%. 51% means most, right? That's what it means with the votes, with, you know, presidential vote. 51%, 49%. Most people voted here by 2%. Right, or 50, sometimes a 50.7, 50.5 compared to 49.5. That is most. So if there was 49 million people who went to Disney World last year, and most were American or lived in America, well, that means what, 24 million goes to Disney, frequents Disney, that they could frequent Disney, right? 400 million people in the USA. I don't know how many people are in the working class by age or in pre-retirement age, but you know, working class is, I think, is defined between 13 and 65 or 18 and 65, right? So if at least 24 million people go to Disney World from America, go to Disney World a year from America, and and there's 400 million people in the USA, and people who are born right between the ages of 1 day old and 105, whoever the oldest person is or group of people are, right? 400 million documented people, could be more, 400 million roughly, right? We could say the working class could be somewhere between 25 to 50%. Let's say 25% on the low end. That's 100 million people who work, who actually make money. I'm not just throwing numbers out of my ass. Like, these are numbers that we can look up. I'm just guesstimating because the numbers aren't in front of me. I'm guesstimating because it's hard to directly scale specific kind of like control groups. But I looked up, and you could look up, 49 million people went to Disney last fiscal year. Most were in America. From America. A lot from Florida. Most were American. Most is 51% or more. Half of 49 is 24.5 million. Let's just say 24 million at minimum. Let's just say 25% of the population is in working class. That doesn't necessarily mean they're employed at the moment. They're in working class. 25%. That's 100,000. Excuse me. That's 100 million people. So 24 million divided by 100 million is about 24%. So what you're telling me is a person roughly over the age, or at least between the age of 13 and 18, 1 in 4 people that we meet go to Disney World and spend that much. I mean, just break it down, dude. Like, imagine if you didn't go to Disney for 2 or 3 years and you frequent Disney for the last 2 or 3 years, 2 or 3 times. You would easily have six figures in your account. So I just want to know if the people who are spending lucrative amounts going to Disney World, and Disney World is one of those examples, right? Concerts, basketball games, football games, soccer games, right? People who are spending lucrative amounts. I wonder if they have the actual finances to afford that. And I hope that they do. Because this is directly, consumption is a direct cause, and health, right? Consumption, overconsumption, and bad health, or inconsistently being healthy, kills people's pockets, dude. It just does. And I'll throw another caveat to that. I've met people who go to Disney World, and they got kids. They got kids. They got a lot of figures in their family, and they go to Disney World. I've met people to go to Disney World, and I have never met or talked to somebody who was rich. Let me just put that out there, right? The people who are going to Disney World that I know are not rich, right? They're not in the 1%. They're not making $400,000 to $500,000 a year, right? They don't have assets like that, and they go to Disney World. Perspective, dude. Just think about this stuff, man. Perspective. Man, if we really just sat back and think about stuff, man, and open our minds, man, it's wild. It's wild. Like, people will go cold turkey tomorrow on a lot of things. But when when we're desensitized to stuff, right? Just because we can stay afloat, right? Maybe we could not pay a bill for a couple weeks or a couple months. We could go hungry and not eat for a couple days, or only eat once a day, just because we want to consume in depreciating products, events, and activities. We think we good. It's a wild mindset. It's a wild mindset. So, just putting it out there, man. I'll get some water.